Ready?
That's my
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Axios Fux Podcast. Silly, what episode are we on?
This is 36.
36. Are you sure we're not 30? Is this 35?
No, this is like 36 or 37, my man.
And you're supposed to have this on lock every week. That's
This-
the one job you have.
I have like 100 different jobs.
But
am
for the
the-
podcast, there's one question I ask you every week without fail. Silly,
It's 36,
what episode?
bro.
Okay, good.
It's 30,
Good. Okay.
101 jobs to entrepreneurship, dude. I'm living it.
So we have a special one for you guys today, and it's something that, me and Vasily, we go through and we've noticed it, the seasons and what we desire during those specific seasons. So Vasily, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, and by seasons, he doesn't really actually, I don't think you 100% mean like actual seasons of like
No.
the year. It's just seasonal change in your mind, basically. If you could kind of picture when the season changes from summer into fall, and then fall into winter, and then winter into spring, and then spring into summer, this is what we're relating to in terms of mindset and what you're going after at different parts of the year after a certain time frame.
Mhm.
So, for example, for me, Christian's been in Colombia for a while now. I'm in Boston. I just moved to a place in Jamaica Plain, Hyde Park area. And I went through a stint of probably 6 months, March, April, from like April up until maybe about a month ago. I had not felt it was desirable to expand and really work on my business and work on myself. I wanted to go party. I wanted to go spend money. I wanted to go do this, this and that. Now the tides have turned once again, and it's an expansion time. And the reason why I could figure out it's expansion time is more reading, more course time. There's traveling now to grow. And you guys can shoot me a text for what I mean by what I travel and what I go to do. I'd be happy to share it with you. But it's time to adjust things and get to the next level.
Yeah. And we talked about like why that had happened. And for me personally, when I'm in a time where I just want freedom, it's because I think my soul needs a reason to work hard again. It wants to expand, but in order to expand, it needs inspiration. So I've been in those situations where I wanted to expand, but I really needed to put my head down and, really work. Like I didn't want to, or I wanted to express myself more, but in a way I had to direct that into my work in order to grow, in order to get better. So like recently I had the same season where I'm just trying to have fun and like, explore and do other things. But now I'm like yourself, kind of feeling like I want to help people. And the best way that I can help people is to be selfless. And what I mean by that is give my time to my purpose, give my time to my work. And by doing that, you help more people. And by building people up and helping more people, you grow and you get better. And then once again, after, maybe 90 days or 6 months or a year, you can cash out again and you can go have some fun and find some more inspiration.
The thing is too, and what's weird
If
about
that
it is
made sense. I don't know if I made sense there.
No, it made total sense. I'm just thinking it's weird for me. I experienced this where I know it's the right thing to do, and I'm doing the right thing again, getting back in that mode. But I become like 100 times more irritable and pissed off.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Me too.
every day is such a grind where, like, for example, I didn't eat, honestly, I didn't prepare any food. I had a little breakfast, then I was on course time for about 3 hours. And then I showed up to my apartment, laid on my bed and exhausted, right? Like so probably literally malnourished, didn't have enough water. And I got up and I just did a 5K, right? The most miserable thing ever. Why do I do it? I don't know. I was pissed. I still did it. Signed up for another half marathon. Now I just started my charity for the Boston Marathon. I'm going to be doing another Spartan race. Work's going well. I have a trip next month to get out of here and do a little self-improvement. These things, like, really, like, I know they're right, but if you're feeling irritated about it, I feel like it's more just like you're forcing yourself to just confront it.
Hmm.
You know it's the right thing. You don't want to do it because it hurts to confront, but it is the right thing.
Yeah. And I think that is growth, because comfort is not going to feel that way. It's
Yeah.
not going to feel like like, it's not going to feel like friction. But I can tell you this is the days that I say the F bomb more times because of
Yeah.
work, or I'm just like by myself. When I was like in Tampa, I'd be like in my car driving to a showing, and I'd say it probably 5 times just on the way there, thinking about all the things I had to do. Those were the days that I got the most done.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've taken to be extremely beneficial in my life is getting in the mindset of doing the most and expecting nothing in return.
It's a
And
sick thing.
it's
It's
the
a sick
sick
thing.
it's
And
a
you're gonna
sick thing.
complain. You're probably gonna complain. Like for me, I complain through it, but I still do it.
Hmm.
Like I know I'm like angry because I'm getting nothing for it. But for some
Hmm.
reason, it pulls me still
Hmm.
because internally I know it's right.
Yeah.
Internally I know it's right. But the fact of you knowing you're not getting anything or there's nothing set in stone, it will piss someone off beyond measures.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
piss you off.
I think it's the most selfless thing that you could do. And that's why the people who don't do anything that they don't want to do are the most selfish. You know what I mean? And you find
Yeah.
these people all the time, they're the victims. But the people who, like, for example, when I come back to Massachusetts, I already told Vasily that, you know, I'm gonna be making 500 calls a day, and I'm gonna be, having my wake up call. I'm gonna be making my calls. I'm gonna be hitting the gym, and I'm gonna expect nothing in return. And the thing is that some people would say, I don't have to do that, or they don't have to do that. And it's not about me so much as it is about other people. And
Yeah.
when you can do those selfless acts and expect nothing in return, like for example, finding a client by calling up 1,000 people that
Mhm.
needs to sell their house, otherwise tomorrow their house is going to be taken from them and they're not going to have any profit. They're not going to have
Mhm.
any money. So
Yeah.
doing those calls and putting in that effort, making those 500 calls a day, that's not for me. That's to find that person that I can help. And in return, if I don't expect anything, I'm not only going to not spend that money, which is another big thing, but I'm going to
Mhm.
be grateful when it happens. And I think
Mhm.
that's incredible, because if you are expecting something, you almost are not as grateful because you expected it. But if you're doing the work and you don't expect any progress, but it will come, I promise you, that's when not only are you not going to spend that money, but you're also going to be seeing it as a bonus. And
Yeah.
when you get a bonus, that's when it really hits home and it feels really good. And if you elevate those clients, and if you elevate the people on your Instagram, and if you elevate your family by all these selfless acts and not expecting anything return, dude, that is going to elevate your life
You're going
way
to,
more
yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah. By
And we do
law. But
that. I mean, look at this podcast.
I know.
35, 36 episodes later, not expecting anything in return. But if there's one listener, we know for a fact they're going to continue watching all the episodes, and they're also going to reach out at one point or another and tell us that we changed their life. And they might be a connection to somebody else who we need, who's going to elevate us even more. And how did that start? It just started with us being
Hear,
selfless and not expecting
hear
anything.
this, Christian. And this, I'm not gonna say the person's name, but it was funny. I got a message from a friend of mine, right? It's a very long message. I'm not gonna read, I'm just gonna read the core point of it. And this is when I knew, and the message was to almost offend me or like upset me, right? But I smiled. I smiled. And this is when it could be sadistic, when I'm a little sadistic, because anyone else might be like a little like, they might get pale with this type of text, like, I just got called out or something. But this is what it was. Little upsetting, you got so much time for Instagram reels, but can't grab a bite to eat. Um, Now it's just nonstop trying to influence people. That's what's being said. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
go into it anymore. But it's basically showing like you are noticed. you're going to be noticed. You're going to try to influence people, and I want to influence people. I want control, but I want good control because I know what has worked and what has not worked. I'm never going to tell something to someone that I've never personally done. But I'm in that stage, Christian, where I was listening to something. I don't know what it was, but it made me like feel a different type of way, a little bit more sharp. And the emotion attached to it is maybe like an anger or like aggravation. And it's like, you are the child of someone, right? You're the child of someone. If you don't perform, I thought about it. It's pretty goddamn embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Hmm.
That's pretty embarrassing. If you're
Yeah.
not at least trying to be something and you're just hanging around and just being kind of mediocre, if your family's okay with it, fine. But I found myself to feel a little bit embarrassed by it.
Hmm.
It's like someone put you on this earth to supersede you, to be better than them. And instead you're spitting in their face or you're spitting on their feet and you're just, wasting your goddamn time.
Hmm.
So I think some people, they have to maybe get more real with themselves when it comes to eventually, and this was from Be Obsessed or Be Average, and Grant was talking about it, those last final breaths, that last when you're about to die, you know how people talk about this like a fish.
Hmm.
um, you don't want to go back in time and say, I didn't do it, I didn't do anything.
Hmm.
I didn't do anything, because a lot of the things you're going to regret are those things that probably are miserable that you didn't do.
Hmm.
Running a marathon, running a half marathon, making a shit ton of calls, doing a little bit more every day. Those are things you are going to regret. It's just
Hmm.
those uncomfortable actions.
Yeah.
Um, so I think
And
people
I
just need
think,
to be more real with themselves and sometimes just buck up, and do the hard things, and just face the real world.
yeah. And also I think that a healthy mindset is one in which you realize that there's people that count on you, and you also realize that hard times are coming. For example, you may be a healthy 25-year-old that has some money in the bank, but what about your circle? What about your family? What about the people that rely on you? Can you support them as well? And that's where what comes in is not only hard work, because hard work will take you
Only
far,
so.
but it will be slow as hell.
Yeah.
You don't have time in this equation when it comes to family members that may be double your age, when it comes to family members that through this pandemic or through this recession may not have the things that they need to support their family. So that's where you have to also be smart. And this is something that it took me a while to understand. You can never stop doing the actions that got you from 0 to 1. Never, ever, ever. In
No.
my opinion, you can
You can
never.
phase two. You can phase two eventually, which is you get someone else to take it over. But when you haven't broke through to 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, you cannot get rid of the foundation of zero to
I
zero.
honestly, personally, I think even when you're in phase from like 1 to 2, I think you should still be operating at least a little bit phase from 0 to 1, because at any point in time, things could collapse under you, or you could get taken advantage of by somebody that you have doing that as well. So you have to stay sharp in that department. So what me and Vasily are talking about is 0 to 1, meaning the phone calls. If you're in real estate, making the phone calls, right? That's only going to get me so far. I've done 4 deals in a month, and it took up every waking minute of my time, because not only are you getting 4 deals a month, you're making sure next month you have another couple
Yeah,
deals.
correct.
So there's no way, unless you have a team, in order to grow that. Now, if you want to do that, go for it. I've done that teams thing. It's not for me. I don't like it. But you can do other things. So what does that mean? Maybe you have a real estate course if you really get good at what you're doing. Maybe you have a podcast. Maybe you have a YouTube channel. You have to be able to get from 1 to 2, reach more people and help more people. That's going to give you leverage, and that's going to help you to build your business, because you
Yeah.
can't just rely on 0 to 1. I can't rely on just making my 500 calls a day and becoming the successful person that I want to be today. Because in order for me to be the best version I can be today, I have to think big, but also do the small things. And that's the difficult. That's the difficulty every single day, because we can't stop doing the small things, but we also have to think big. And that shit is one of the things that I've been freaking chewing on for years. I either think big and don't do the small things, and that's when everything collapses, or I think small, or I'm doing the small things and I don't have time or the bandwidth to think big. But that's why you need people around you that are thinking the same way. So me and Vasily, we're going to be living with each other, and we're going to be able to check each other. If we've, haven't progressed in maybe our group that we have, the Axios Army, or we haven't, sold any of our courses to help other agents on our Instagram. Because like I said, you can be selfless by making calls and helping clients. But what about the people on your Instagram that you are not influencing, even though you have the ability to? That means you're not grateful for that opportunity to be able to influence those 100 to 1,000 people that look at your story every day. Or what about your family? How are you influencing them and your friends? Because these are all the things that you can be more selfless so that it can elevate you in the future.
We can end it off with, I want to just give a little insight. Okay. Well, two things. So basically we were just talking about using the Instagram. So you probably noticed, Christian, I've been putting out
Reels.
this content, the sales content out, like closes, how to handle people, whatever it may be. This is with the goal of reaching more people than the immediate people I have day to day that I see. So I have mentees that I take care of, but now I want to be going from afar and helping people 1,000 miles away, 4,000 miles away in China, Bangkok, whatever it may be, right? I want to really get to that point where I can help out a lot of people. But this last thing I want to talk about is this is the methods of handling other people. Okay, the methods of handling other people. And you might be able to resonate with this, whoever's listening, and also you, Christian. But when you're in a room with someone and you're having a conversation, you can do one of three things: enhancement, like enhancing them, pushment drive, or nullification. So enhancement being number one. This is what you should want to do, but it can be difficult, especially when you're on the level of trying to get better and you're competing against other people. So enhancement is coming into the room and actually genuinely wanting someone to do better and pushing them and telling them to do more. Okay. Then after that, that's punishment drive. That's like, for example, if you were to tell me to make phone calls and I really didn't want to make phone calls, and you actually threatened me, if you didn't make these phone calls, I'm gonna blow a bullet through your brain or something like this. This can't be good in the long run. Maybe immediately I'm gonna make phone calls, but I'm probably gonna have a heart attack. So that's number two. And then nullification. This is the worst one. This is, I'm not gonna lie, I've done this before. Maybe you've done it before, but I was really upset with myself to know I've done something like this. But this is like, for example, what we see today, where there's overweight people, right? There's overweight people, and they'll say, I should really lose weight, and then someone around them goes, no, you shouldn't. You look perfect.
Oh my gosh.
So nullification. So these people know they're overweight. They look for someone else to justify why they should be doing the workouts or getting in better shape. But instead, that person says, no, you're perfect. So you're nullifying their concern. And the reason why they're doing this is a lot of the times they're in fear that this person could be better than them.
Wow.
So they try to keep them down. They don't want them to progress. So when you have an environment of people, even good people, they do these things too. I've done it before. Just pick one of those three things. Make sure you get around number one is enhancement, and then kick out all those people who are nullification, and then also punishment drive. Okay. So that's what I have to say.
Awesome. I think we'll wrap it up there, right?
Yeah. You got this recorded?
Yep.
Okay,
okay, guys. I'll see you. Tag us on your Instagram if you listen to the podcast. We will re-tag you. Peace out, guys.
Okay, see you later, Christian.
See you.